So this is a Ryobi P221. Now I had a little bit of video footage from working on a fireplace install where we're using this for concrete. I think I was using a 3/8 bit for that, and on synthetic brick it worked pretty well. The thing is, the brick on that was thin. It was mounted over a mesh and then a drywall. So the rest of that video, we had to go in a different direction on the installation with a wooden framework, and it's posted in another segment. So this is a replacement for the Dewalt unit that got stolen, and it's much cheaper. The Dewalt stuff starts at around $250 and kind of goes up from there. These are 99 bucks at Home Depot, but they're really hard to find in the stores. There was one store that had a few in Vancouver, Washington. We had to do a search from another store to find it. They're also available online. Now, in the UK and Australian market, there is a newer model out, and I got to do a little more research on that. But this one's the US market model. Apparently, the UK Australian one has some different stuff here. The housing here works a lot like their other drills and impacts and rotary hammers and that kind of stuff. You've got kind of a two-finger trigger on that, a forward and a backward. You would only use a backward for basically unjamming a bit. These use the SDS bits, like I think Bosch might have been the first company to come out with those. And so there's a mounting system. We've got to pull this back, make sure it's in the right slot, put it in. One of the things I learned on the Dewalt drill is you got to keep that lubricated, or else it can start to gum up. The first SDS drill that I owned where I ran into that was actually a Hilti that had been run for a long time without proper lubrication, and in the head it popped right off. So that's one of the things to get these things to last longer. The other thing, depending on some of the models, there's different settings on the switches. Now, on a cheaper one like this Ryobi, we've got drilling, which is drilling and hammering, or we've just got drilling. On something like this, you're pretty much always going to use drilling and hammering. On drilling, you might just use that, let's say, for unjamming your bit and getting it back out of the hole. And the reason for that is that this is basically a rotating chisel, and there's no cutting, there's no sharpness on this. All this coil shank stuff here is to clear debris out of the hole. That's it. And then we've got this part that's been, some kind of a carbide bit or something like that. And basically what it does is it hammers and turns, and then as soon as the debris gets caught into that, it clears it out of the hole. So it's not a cutting drill the way, let's say, a wood cutting, a drill that cuts wood, it goes. On the installation that I did, the thing is, we had to mount wood onto brick and concrete with part of it. And, the thing is you can't drill wood with this, and as soon as you hit concrete with a wood drilling bit, you're pretty close to ruining that bit. So you have to have both types of drills, and you got to be able to go back and forth between them. One of the advantages with this is it uses the moderate cost but high efficiency P108 batteries, which is the battery I recommend for it. I used to own more of them, but they were stolen. So if anybody around Portland sees a few that were kind of beat up that were like this, that had that glue residue and some paint residue on them, those are mine. But anyway, and then with the vast majority of Tapcon concrete anchors, we're going to be using the 532. We're not using the large diameter stuff on these, although I have used the 3/8 that seem to drill it just fine. That's going to vary a lot according to the hardness and the age of the type of rock and concrete that you're drilling. That's going to vary a whole lot. And there's a few different methods for attaching anchors and items to that. Depending on the material, some anchors are going to work better than others. Some of them you need to glue or epoxy into the spot. Others will use a cinch mechanism. But the bottom line is it takes a special drill to make the hole to do that. The Ryobi P221 at $100 is pretty reasonable for that.